What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. So today's video is kind of inspired by my What If Goku Got God Key early video. I'll link that above if you haven't seen it already. But there, it's basically as it says, Goku gets God Key early on, very early on in fact, before Z even starts. And honestly, the concept itself is kind of crazy, I even mentioned it in the video. But it got me thinking of something else. I had this idea for a while, and this isn't nearly as outlandish, and still makes for a pretty interesting story. I get asked a lot what might have happened if Beerus woke up early, so today we're going to be covering that. For this video, let's set a like goal of 3,000 likes, and once we hit that, I'll continue with the next part to this series. Anyways, let's begin. So the question itself is pretty straightforward. Beerus is going to be waking up early here, but how early? Is it going to be a few years before? Is it going to be before the Buu Saga? Before the Cell Saga? Earlier than that even? Well, I feel like a good spot is between Namek and the Cell Saga. Because if he wakes up too early, well, I don't see how our heroes could get out of that scenario. And if it's too close to when Beerus originally woke up, it wouldn't really change too much besides making the Buu Saga really easy. So I feel like this is a sweet spot. He's going to be waking up right after Namek. And why is that? Well, in his sleep he was kind of disturbed. Subconsciously, he was sensing ki around the universe. And his body picked up on something pretty impressive. Well, not very impressive by his standards, but relative to regular mortals, this was pretty impressive. It interrupts his dreams, and groggily he wakes up. He's a little angry that his nap is disturbed, but he can't go back to sleep now. You know how it is. Once you wake up and you're focused on something, you're gonna have a hard time falling back asleep. Alongside sensing these odd powers, Beerus actually had some odd dreams alongside it. Nothing concerning or bad, no, it was actually a premonition of sorts, he thinks. Something involving a Saiyan. Whatever, he decides to ignore it for now. He's a little too tired and he still needs some time to fully wake up. He'll try to go back to sleep maybe for another year or so, but he doesn't think that's possible. Whis looks on as Beerus desperately tries to go back to sleep, wondering what could possibly be on this god of destruction's mind. Time passes. Beerus and Whis are pretty bored on their planet. I mean, there's not really much to do. Beerus just hangs around while Whis does whatever Whis does. You know what would really interest Beerus? Some new food. And also, maybe a new rival. He had that dream before, and he wants to see if he can make it come true somehow. After thinking about it for a while, he realized what he was thinking of, a Super Saiyan god. And what perfect timing, because on Earth, he senses something going on. Two strong powers colliding, and some of them feel oddly familiar. Wait a second, is that Freeza and King Cold? It seems their powers are actually being matched. No, they're not matched, they're being surpassed. Beerus is pretty surprised. Frieza's not really anything in terms of power when compared to Beerus, but seeing other mortals surpass him somehow, that's definitely interesting. And he actually wants to check this out. Maybe this fight will make for a good spectacle, and this planet may have some good food, so why not go? Whis begins the journey as they travel to Earth. A few minutes later, he and Whis arrive, and they remain kinda low for now. He arrives just as Frieza is killed, and he watches King Cold die. Damn, it seems he missed most of the fight. But this blonde-haired fellow seems pretty strong. He's actually interested in what the story is here, so he sticks around a bit. Beerus has pretty big ears, so he might be able to hear this conversation from pretty far away. And it's interesting, this teenage boy is from the future, trying to deliver a medication to this other guy here. Both of them appear to be Saiyans actually. Interesting, two Saiyans. Wait, Beerus then realizes, did this kid just mention time travel? I mean, hopefully he heard something wrong, so he keeps listening in, and it turns out he did. How do mortals even have the technology for this? But more importantly, they're breaking the law. Mortals can't time travel. Beerus seems pretty upset, and Whis watches as Beerus storms over there. The entire group watches confused as they see this big purple cat walk over. Well, except for Vegeta. He watches terrified. Beerus asks, did this kid just mention a time machine? Oh, Trunks doesn't know who this guy is. But yeah, he holds up the capsule with the time machine in it, as Beerus angrily erases the capsule. Trunks is speechless as everyone else watches scared. Beerus then turns his head and sees a familiar face. Vegeta! He heard about him in the conversation, but he actually forgot he was here. What a pleasant surprise. It's always nice to have a friend here. Beerus then holds his hand right in front of Trunks' face, ready to destroy him. Trunks goes Super Saiyan, ready to fight Beerus. But Vegeta shouts out saying not to. Trunks asks who this guy is, and Vegeta explains. Beerus is pissed about the time travel and says Trunks must pay the price for it. But everyone tries to bargain with him after they hear who he is and what he's capable of. He draws his hand back, with Trunks shaking. This guy was actually about to kill him, so casually too. There's no way he was actually bluffing. Scratching his chin, Beerus thinks, well, he already destroyed the time machine, so there's that. Maybe he can let this Trunks kid live, but under one condition. He wants everyone to find out about the Super Saiyan God for him. They have no idea what a Super Saiyan God is. They do know about Super Saiyan, which Trunks just showed him, and which he saw Goku use too. Is that the same thing or something? This is nothing to Beerus, no. Not only is that form far too weak, but Beerus can't sense any God Ki coming from them. Ah well, they know nothing. Whatever, he lifts his hand up, putting it in Trunks' face again. Trunks steps back, and then another capsule falls from his pocket. The same one that had the fridge that he threw down before. Beerus sees the fridge on the ground, and he wonders, why was this kid carrying a fridge? You know what? Now that he thinks about it, he's a little bit thirsty. So, before he destroys Trunks, he grabs his drink from the fridge. It's actually pretty delicious. It's something called Heat-Tap. He's never had a drink so tasty before. Okay, you know what? On second thought, he'll let Earth remain. But he tells everyone he still wants them to find out about Super Saiyan God. This time, he won't give them a constrained time limit. But he still wants them to find out about it, otherwise Trunks dies. And if he's feeling a bit angry, Earth too. Beerus says he'll keep in contact. He lifts up the fridge as Whis then brings it back to his planet. Everyone's just confused. Okay, what now? Trunks is stuck, and they have Beerus looming over. Plus, the androids are of course coming soon. Also, this is pretty bad. Trunks may not even be born here. And what about the future timeline too? It's gonna be a disaster. He's panicking. Even if they could build another time machine, Trunks can't even use it. Otherwise, Beerus will erase him and possibly everyone on Earth just out of anger. Trunks, he's actually getting a little bit angry himself too, alongside the panic. After everything his mom did, after all the times they've risked their lives, this ass comes in and does this to them? He'll get payback. He promises he'll become the Super Saiyan God and give Beerus more than a fight. He'll kill Beerus. Vegeta kind of chuckles to himself. There's no way they're gonna kill Beerus. But hey, if this kid wants to try, it'll make for a good show. And if anything, he's gonna be the Super Saiyan God. He is the coolest Saiyan after all. So, first order of business, they decide to ask Shenron. They end up finding the Dragon Balls and ask him, and it turns out they need 2 more Saiyans for this ritual. Okay, well, that's kind of an issue. There aren't any other Saiyans here. Trunks hasn't been born yet, neither has Goten. It's just Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and future Trunks. Who cares? They'll train normally. Maybe they could find out some more later. Years pass. Surprisingly, Vegeta and Bulma do end up having a kid. Trunks is relieved until he sees this kid is not a boy, it's a girl. Bulma's born here instead of Trunks. Well, he isn't really sure how to feel about this. They did have a kid, but it's not him. But he's not fading from existence, so it seems like everything's okay. Vegeta does still get with Bulma, but with Vegeta being Vegeta, he wants to have a kid earlier mainly for the ritual. Considering how much of an asshat Vegeta is in the Cell Saga, I wouldn't be surprised if this happened. It's something he would do. Or it could have been completely legitimate, who knows? But now, it gets Vegeta thinking. He then reveals something that interests everyone. First off, he knows by now that Trunks is his son. After knowing Trunks for years, it's become pretty obvious, and he's sorry that Trunks can't have been born in this timeline, at least maybe not yet, but if he is, he'll be sure to name the kid Trunks. But that's besides the point. He comes out with something that he wanted to tell everyone. He never said this before because this would only be one extra Saiyan, but he does know of one Saiyan that does exist somewhere else. Well, he doesn't know where he is, but he knows who it is. He flat out says to everyone, he has a brother. They all think he's joking, but then they realize Vegeta is deathly serious. And he explains, they're gonna have a hard time finding him. Maybe they can ask Shenron to bring him here. But no need, Goku has a better idea. He asks Vegeta for his brother's name and he says Tarble. Awesome. Goku teleports away going to King Kai's planet. King Kai of course knows what's been going on Earth, and he decides to help. He does want to appease Beerus after all. And with King Kai's help, Goku's able to be directed towards Tarble's planet, which he teleports to. Everyone on Earth waits patiently. I mean, this is going to take a bit of time. After about an hour or so, Goku then returns. Oh cool, they wonder who he's here with. They all expect an incredibly strong Saiyan, one just like Vegeta, a hardened, serious, battle-ready Saiyan that hasn't been softened like everyone on Earth. He must be a really cool guy. Even Vegeta doesn't really know what to expect. Sure, he knows his brother was a little bit weaker than him, but he wonders how he did grow up. It's been a long time. As Goku walks in once more, they see, and it's just normal Tarble. Is he even a Saiyan? He seems so normal and gentle. Obviously the tail's a dead giveaway that he is actually a Saiyan, and the resemblance to Vegeta is pretty apparent. It took a lot of explaining and convincing, but Tarble did end up going. He's not married yet and has no real obligations, so he decided he can come to Earth and stay with his brother. It's better now that he's with him anyways. But there's still a lot of info that he needs, so he's caught up to speed, and hears all about the Super Saiyan God, Beerus, and everything else. Whoa, his brother's a Super Saiyan? And this Goku guy? And this kid here? Oh, this kid's his nephew, from the future or something. Okay, this is a lot to take in at once. Beerus then teleports in. Well done, everyone. Whis has been watching from Beerus' planet, and Beerus decides to give everyone the time to do what they needed. Now, this better work. They have all the Saiyans they need, so it should be okay to go. And he reminds them, if this goes wrong, the price is Trunks' life. So, I'm pretty sure everyone will want to become a Super Saiyan God. But Trunks is actually the strongest right now. He's been training with everyone here, and he has that hybrid strength that we all know and love. Plus, he was the first one who wanted to be a Super Saiyan God anyways, so the ritual is done. They have some trouble getting Bullet involved, but it ends up working. Trunks ascends into the air, as he then undergoes a transformation. Descending back down to the ground, it's revealed. His hair's now red, he's skinnier, he has a different aura, and they can't even sense his energy. So, how strong is Trunks here in Super Saiyan God? Well, Goku in Battle of Gods was considerably stronger than Vegeta once they did transform, since they said Vegeta wouldn't be enough for Beerus. But somehow Super Saiyan God Goku was enough to appease him. So, going by this assumption, I would assume Super Saiyan God has a much stronger boost in power than a Super Saiyan Fusion even would. Meaning, the user most likely is going to be thousands of times stronger than before, if not more. This is the Cell Saga, so Super Saiyan God Trunks might not be that impressive compared to Beerus, but he's far stronger than everyone else here. Overpowered is an understatement. He's likely high boost Saga tier at the absolute least. He and Beerus fight, and Beerus is still somewhat happy. He can tell that this kid has potential. Alright, he lets him live, but no more time travel. He'll visit Earth occasionally for food, and for now, he'll leave them to their own devices. He knows the androids are coming and tells everyone this will be a true test of their strength. Let's see what the Earthlings are capable of. So, fast forward a bit, and we get to the time that the androids eventually arrive. Trunks immediately knows that these androids aren't his androids. And surprisingly, even with Super Saiyan God, these androids are still pretty strong. And what's worse, they completely forgot. Goku gets the heart virus. Caught up in everything else, they completely forgot that this was going to happen. So that needs to be dealt with. Although the group is able to defeat 19 and 20, the real problem is 17 and 18 once they're revived. So, why are the androids stronger here? Strong enough to even be an issue for a group like this? Well, here's the thing. Jiro has continuously been researching everyone. So, he'd know about the Super Saiyan God, and the android's strength would be improved and adjusted in order to counter these Super Saiyan gods. This would include 19 and 20 as well. But as for 16, I feel like he'd remain as the same strength as before. Jiro eventually stopped working on him because he seemed like a dangerous project, so he probably wouldn't have a change in strength here. But as for 17 and 18, they're still strong. So even with everything that's happened so far, this part goes a little bit normally. Everyone gets pretty much washed by the androids as they go off and try to fight Goku. But we do have some more changes here. With everything that's changed so far, Cell arrives earlier, showing himself in order to try and absorb one of the Z-Fighter's strength. It appears he was too late. By the time he gets to the area, everyone's gone. But it seems like the androids are nearby. Maybe this would be a good opportunity to absorb them. Remember, this Cell is from another timeline. He's the same strength as he was originally. And without God Ki, that means he doesn't know how strong the Super Saiyan gods truly are. He really doesn't know what he's getting himself into. He was only sensing the human strength in Piccolo, as well as Tarble and Gohan who don't have Super Saiyan God yet. Cell pursues the androids and eventually finds them. This is great. It's a perfect opportunity to strike. He jumps out, surprising the androids, trying to absorb 17. But 17's fast enough to dodge him. He's confused and tries going after him again. Why is 17 so strong? 17 laughs, realizing what's going on. Oh, this must be another one of Jiro's creations. He questions Cell and Cell reveals his purpose. Interesting. Well, Cell's gonna have a pretty hard time absorbing him. Within an instant, 17 then appears in front of Cell. Cell then sees that the two of them are trapped in a barrier, as 17 then expels a bunch of ki, performing his grand explosion attack. He lands back on the ground, dusting himself off, as green shards dissipate around him with the shield exploding. 18 just calls him a show-off, while 16 focuses on the birds. Yeah, it was that easy. 17 just killed Cell. He even used enough energy so that Cell couldn't regenerate. That's how strong they are here. With all of our heroes spread out, they do sense Cell's arrival, but they're not too worried about him. He seems pretty weak in comparison. And just as quickly as he arrived, he died. Everyone wonders what that was about. His ki felt pretty weird. It seemed like a mix of everyone else's ki. But whatever, it seems like the androids killed him for some reason. Or at least they assumed because they couldn't sense what was going on besides Cell. But anywho, things are starting to look up. Goku just regained consciousness, and he seems ready to fight. All the while, Beerus monitors everything from his planet. He looks through Whis' staff, and honestly, he's a little bit impressed. Not in these guys, no, the androids. That doctor created robots this strong. Whis corrects him calling them cyborgs, but whatever. Beerus compliments the late doctor anyways. If he weren't stupid enough to let the androids kill him, maybe he would have been considered smart by Beerus. But whatever, now he's interested to see how the group will handle this. Thankfully for everyone in the group, Goku ends up waking up, finally cured of the heart virus and able to fight. He's actually surprised to hear that the androids are able to outmatch a Super Saiyan God, and it's a bit worrisome. But you know what could help? Why not more Super Saiyan gods? I mean, they have enough people and more Saiyans. So why not perform another ritual? First, a ritual is performed on Goku, and then Vegeta. They both get Super Saiyan God and are amazed at how powerful it is. They try again to do the ritual on Gohan and Tarble next, but they've already channeled all of their energy away. Maybe the ritual isn't something they could really spam. But it's fine. Gohan and Tarble are bummed, but they know they'll get their turn soon enough. And you know what? Maybe just having Goku and Vegeta and Super Saiyan God in addition to Trunks will be enough. They'll have to see. Beerus and Whis end up watching from their planet. What is everyone doing? They're making a mockery of God Ki. Beerus is a bit disappointed that they're taking the easy way out, but part of him is still intrigued to see more Super Saiyan gods. And, in all honesty, he kinda saw this coming. I mean, if you have a ritual that can make people so powerful like this, of course they're gonna try and abuse it. He's just a bit underwhelmed that they abused it so quickly. But maybe it's their only way out, and on top of that, this means that he'll have more rivals. Trunks was already impressive enough, so what about these two Saiyans getting the same form as well? It'll be interesting to see how they fare against the androids. And they better do their job, or else Beerus is going to be pretty angry because he'll be losing all that great food on Earth. Such as some amazing pizza that they're enjoying right now. Beerus and Whis keep a close eye on Earth, wondering how the fights will go. So since he got Super Saiyan God first, Trunks is the strongest of the group. Goku considers using the time chamber, but decides against it. They don't really need all that time training. As long as he and Vegeta get adjusted to Super Saiyan God quickly enough, they should be fine fighting in it. And after they get it, it doesn't take too long for them to learn how to transform to it willingly. Now that they have the ability to turn it on and off, this means they should be ready for their fight, but they're not sure they'll be enough. However, the group has a strategy. Combined, they're more than enough to take on one or even two of the androids. It only becomes a problem when there's three of them. Not to mention, they're aware of the infinite stamina by now. They'll need to figure out a way around the android's energy, and the best way to do that is to end a fight quickly, which could be done by ganging up on them. As long as they end up defeating one android altogether, they should be able to take out the remaining two pretty easily. The group makes haste and is able to find the androids. It's not too hard because cities are just blowing up randomly. All they gotta do is check the news and find out where they are. The group heads to one of the destroyed cities, catching the two androids before they're able to kill a group of people. They save these bystanders and get ready to fight. The androids are glad to see that Goku's here. It shouldn't be too hard for them to kill Goku. 16 stands to the side as 17 goes up to fight first, thinking he could take on everyone by himself. Trunks transformed into Super Saiyan God ready to battle, and he begins fighting 17. The two seem pretty even in terms of power, and 17 and Trunks both notice this, but 17 knows that he has the advantage. Having infinite energy really helps. And 17 doesn't think that anyone else could even join in on the fight and help. But little does he know, there's two other Super Saiyan gods. Vegeta then joins in, and much to the surprise of the other two androids, he and Trunks quickly finish off 17, killing the android. Things are looking great so far. Since they already took out one of the androids, they should be able to defeat the other two. But they expected an issue though. Now these two are going to be on guard. It's not going to be as easy to take them out as the first android that they're able to fight. 17 got cocky and didn't know he'd be ganged up on. But now 16 and 18 are fully aware of the plan. 16 and 18 begin fighting together, and they're enough to hold off the group since they're fighting at full capacity right now. They aren't able to kill Goku, Vegeta, or Trunks, but those three aren't able to kill the androids either. The three Saiyans are advantaged in terms of power, but again with infinite energy, and with power that almost matches the three Saiyans, the androids hold them off. But shockingly during the fight, two people end up joining, Gohan and Tarble. Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks are confused. What are they doing here? They're not going to be able to help and they'll only be putting themselves in danger and just getting in the way. But it turns out, that's not true. Sure, they're not as strong as the Super Saiyan gods, but they do have a God Ki now and got stronger just from that. Being around all these Super Saiyan gods and being part of the rituals, well, that's going to do that for them. It empowers their base just enough to be a distraction. They won't be making any dents on the androids, but it does throw off the artificial humans in battle. And this is good. Them joining distracts 16, leaving him open for attacks. 18 is knocked to the side as the three attack 16. He gets a bit concerned, realizing he might need to break out his trump card. Surprisingly during the battle, he suddenly grabs onto Goku, basically holding him hostage. He smirks as he tells everyone about the bomb inside him. Not only will it kill Goku, but anyone caught in the blast. Even though he self-destructs in the process, it doesn't mean that he accomplishes his mission of killing the Saiyan. No one knows what to do. They don't know if they'll be able to save Goku from this, and even if they try leaving now, first of all that means they're leaving Goku behind, but they might not even be able to escape if they try to. But thankfully, Goku's able to squirm around, lifting one of his arms up. 16 doesn't know what he's trying to accomplish, but suddenly, Goku places his fingers on his forehead, teleporting to King Kai's planet. Confused, 16 stops the explosion, accidentally letting go of Goku in the process. He looks around, trying to figure out where he is, but it's not a location that he's been programmed to know. And this is good. Goku's able to quickly grab onto everyone on King Kai's planet, telling them they'll fix everything later as he teleports away. 16 is left alone on King Kai's planet, wondering what the hell just happened. King Kai, Bubbles, and Gregory are then brought to Earth with Goku. King Kai knows what's going on as he's been watching, but he scolds Goku, calling him insane for a stunt like that, but Goku promises they'll fix it later. Right now they have bigger problems, and this is the only way to save Earth. King Kai's a little bit angered, but he realizes that Goku is right. That was a good maneuver. And his planet didn't explode and he's not dead, so it's kind of okay. But he becomes terrified as he realizes one of the androids is still left, that being 18. She immediately lunges towards Goku and King Kai, wondering how he could have survived 16's blast. But as she rushes towards them, Vegeta and Trunks both rush in together, attacking from each of her sides with a punch, then kicking her into the air together, both launching a heat dome attack upwards, killing 18. And with that, the 3 androids and Cell are defeated. They have won. The 3 power down into their base, with Trunks wondering who that guy with the glasses is. Everyone's elated that they finally got the job done. Well, except for Trunks. He really does want to go back home, but obviously he can't. Beerus is still watching, and he remembers what Beerus told him before when he destroyed the time machine. He defeated the androids here, and it would be even easier to kill the androids in the future timeline if he got back. It makes him pretty sad. He hopes his mom can stay safe from the androids, but he knows deep down that that may not happen. He's already been gone for too long. Who knows what the androids would have done by now? But alongside the sadness, he still does feel anger, and he has a goal in mind. He still does want to defeat Beerus as he promised before, wanting this so he could freely time travel and save his timeline. He doesn't care about any universal laws or whatever. He just wants to avenge his friend Gohan and save what little remains in his timeline. And there's another person that's awkwardly going to stick around, that being Tarble. He's already been here long enough, and it's been interesting being here so far. Plus, the last few remains of his family are here, so he stays. Beerus then teleports in, telling everyone he's been watching and congratulates them. He also says hi to King Kai, a little amused to see him here. Oh yeah, that leaves one less loose end. What are they supposed to do with 16 on King Kai's planet? Oh yeah, Goku completely forgot. King Kai teleports back with Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks in tow. And with a quick surprise attack, they kill the last android. Now everything's finally over. They return to Earth and Beerus laughs. A bit sloppy, but they got the job done. What a relief. He yawns and now he could finally return home. At least after he picks up another pizza or two. This only serves to make Trunks angrier. He does this also casually. He didn't even try to help. Beerus is a god. Why isn't he helping? This sticks with Trunks. Together, over the next few years, Vegeta and Trunks train with Super Saiyan God, but Goku, he tries to work backwards. Gohan and Tarble eventually have the ritual done on them too. But as for Goku, instead of trying to surpass Super Saiyan God, he wants to work on his base and Super Saiyan. Vegeta and Trunks are focused on brute strength, but Goku realizes if he works backwards, he may be able to fundamentally improve Super Saiyan God and even go above it somehow. After a few years pass, Vegeta and Trunks get way stronger with Super Saiyan God, but Goku and Gohan have worked on perfecting Super Saiyan, then trying to do the same with Super Saiyan God. But instead of actually perfecting Super Saiyan God, they decide, why not try and see if they can combine the two forms? Maybe by taking some notes from Super Saiyan Grade 4, they'll be able to improve Super Saiyan God somehow. And obviously, by doing that, they inadvertently are able to find Super Saiyan Blue. So even though Vegeta and Trunks got stronger, Goku and Gohan now have access to a much stronger form, and are able to train in that. It ends up putting them ahead, and Beerus is pretty interested. He offers them an opportunity to train with Whis. They can come to his planet and get much stronger there. Vegeta and Trunks go to train. Goku also goes as well, but Gohan realizes that he can't leave Earth. Thankfully though, Goku still has instant transmission, so a few days a week, he'll be going to Beerus' planet to train for a couple hours. Even though he's not there all the time, Gohan will still benefit from this training. As for Tarble, he doesn't really care too much. This is the same Tarble as usual. And we all know Tarble's not really a fighter. He sticks on Earth and trains a bit, but he's not too focused on getting strong like everyone else. But thankfully, by being a Super Saiyan God, he's already pretty strong by default, which is part of the reason he's not going there to train. He'll be able to hold his own in whatever fight comes in the future. And of course, another fight is about to arrive soon, that being the Buu Saga. So there's a few changes here leading up to it. First, let's look at the Saiyaman Saga. Gohan never really becomes the Saiyaman. He's actually able to figure out a pretty clever disguise. By using Super Saiyan Blue, the control in that is perfect for him to be a superhero with. Plus, it changes his hair and eyes, and gives him an aura that kinda coats his appearance. With how fast he works and how he's coated by his aura, he's able to keep his identity under wraps, fighting as a Super Saiyan Blue, then going back to his normal state. Of course, Videl eventually does find out about him, and the stuff that happens after that goes pretty normal. Once we get to the tournament, a lot of the lineup is pretty much the same. 18 and one of the random fighters from the tournament would be replaced by Trunks and Tarble. And everyone's prepared to have some fun in this tournament. The first few fights go normal, up until the part when we have Gohan versus Kibito. Gohan powers up for Kibito, and Spopovich and Yamu are a bit confused. He definitely did transform, but they can't sense any of his ki. Did he power up? Is he just really weak? Since Gohan's in Super Saiyan Blue, he has God Ki, something that Spopovich and Yamu won't be able to detect. And possibly, they won't even be able to steal his energy. They wouldn't even attempt to do it because it seems like Gohan's not even showing his true power. Kibito's a bit concerned as well. Of course he can sense this, but then he realizes his mistake. Gohan ends up defeating the Kai, as Shin and Kibito try to come up with another plan. Thankfully, one of the next fights is Vegeta versus Goku, and the two begin fighting, pacing themselves. They don't start out in their God forms right from the start. Rather than relying on any God Ki, they just use their normal Ki, going into Super Saiyan. And this is great because the Majin servants can sense this. Immediately, they jump in, attacking Goku first, stabbing him to steal his energy. Shin and Kibito realize this is their opportunity. Shin freezes Goku in place, hoping that they'll steal enough for them to find Babidi. But the issue is, Vegeta's there, and he's angry that they interrupted his fight with Kakarot. He stretches his hand out, sending out a small concussive blast, enough to not only break the device, but also knocking both of the Majin servants unconscious. Goku cauterizes his wound, curious as to what just happened, but he assures Vegeta he's okay. The two will have to continue their fight later though. Something is definitely about to happen. Suddenly, all the Saiyans in the arena disappear. The crowd is just confused, as are the Kais. The Saiyans are pretty confused as well, because now they end up in Babidi's ship. Babidi teleported all of them there, deciding he'll just directly steal all their energy this way. It's much simpler, and it seems like the only thing that's going to work now that Spopovich and Yamu are out of commission. Thankfully, Shin and Kibito can teleport as well, so they get there pretty quickly, telling everyone what's happening. But as they arrive, Vegeta's already fighting Pui Pui. The good thing is he hasn't given off much energy. Actually, barely any at all. He killed Pui Pui in pretty much one shot. And he's pretty amused. There was a 10 times gravity increase in there, which is pretty much nothing to him. He wonders what's going on. They got teleported here randomly and there's a gravity increase? Thankfully, Shin and Kibito explain it all. Next up is Yakon, and he'd probably be defeated by Goku just farting, that's how weak they are. But for the sake of this video, let's just say he's defeated in the same way as normal. I mean, at this rate though, Goku could literally just flick him and kill him that way. They're really no challenge at all. On the next floor, Gohan's then up, facing off against Dabura. Dabura's spit is not a problem because Gohan's able to move so fast that he can't even be spit on. And he's fighting in base. That's how strong they all are. He doesn't even need to transform to fight Dabura. Dabura tries to coax Gohan into transforming for more energy, trying to get him angry somehow, as well as picking up his own pace and trying to fight more seriously. But no matter what he does, Gohan fights pretty casually, and he's able to defeat Dabura. The group goes lower and lower into the ship, ready to face Babidi. Babidi is panicking. He tries to take over someone. Maybe this is his way out. Yeah, that should work. If he gets into someone's mind, he can control them, getting a new servant and getting some power in the process. He looks around into everyone's minds, but he can't find a target. Gohan and Goku are obviously fine. Trunks only has malice towards Beerus, and otherwise he's a good person. Tarbell was also teleported there too, and he's a good person too, so he's not a target. Vegeta would be the only one that would be even remotely good for a target. But with how this story has gone, Vegeta's content with everything. He's fought Goku many times and is training to surpass him. He's actually on course to being one of the strongest fighters. With his development by this point, he's not going to be turning Majin anytime soon. So Babidi can delay them all he wants, but inevitably, he's screwed. He's defeated and his ship is destroyed. Shin and Kibito thank everyone as they take Buu's egg away, ready to seal it for good, making sure it won't get into the wrong hands. And with that, the Buu saga is essentially avoided. I know it's kind of a joke in some of my videos that I skipped the Buu saga. But like, really, what else would happen here? It even poses another question. Would Babidi even have been able to absorb the God Ki from everyone? There definitely is a chance, but there was no opening for him to even do that. So even if he could steal their Ki, he simply never had an opportunity to. And that's great for everyone else because they avoided a big pain in the ass. Not just for them, but pretty much everyone on Earth. So, where are we gonna go from this? The next thing that would follow the Buu saga is Battle of Gods, but of course, there's gonna be no Battle of Gods. Beerus is already involved, that's the whole concept of this what if. And yeah, Resurrection F would most likely happen, but I don't really need to spend time covering that because we all know how that'll go. Do you really think Golden Freeza is gonna be enough for 3 Super Saiyan Blues? Especially with the head start they've gotten? He's no contest at all. So, Resurrection F does happen, but it's pretty much nothing. They're surprised Frieza even tried. But it's not that simple. With everything that's happened so far, there is one last loose end that they left untied. They never ended up destroying Jiro's lab here. His drones have been active this whole time. And while Future Cell was killed by the androids, Present Cell is still being developed. And this time, he has a lot more research to go off of, as well as some new DNA. Life for everyone continues normally, but unknown to them, not every Red Ribbon android was defeated. But that's not going to be the only thing. While we'll see the arrival of a familiar antagonist, we'll also see the arrival of a familiar protagonist. But who could that possibly be? I'll leave that up to your imagination and see if anyone can figure it out. We'll save that for the next episode and leave off here for now. One day at Capsule Corp, everyone is just hanging around. Beerus and Whis are being their usual selves, being lazy and enjoying some food. They're outside at this point, and they notice something appear out of nowhere. It's some sort of weird vehicle, and it says Capsule Corp on the side. But the weird thing is it just teleported here out of nowhere. That's definitely something concerning, and Beerus has a feeling that he knows what it is. Especially because he asks Bulma and she has no idea what's going on. She, Trunks, and Vegeta run outside, and Trunks immediately knows what it is. He confirms that it is a time machine, but where did this come from? Of course, Beerus wouldn't be too happy to hear this, but they wait to see who's inside. Trunks thinks it could be from another timeline, but there is also another chance that it could be someone he was waiting for. This makes him hopeful, especially once he sees the time machine open. From the time machine, another version of Bulma steps out. Glad to see that everything's okay and seeing Trunks there, as well as her past self and Vegeta. She and Trunks have a nice reunion, as Vegeta and Bulma watch on kind of in confusion. Okay, future Trunks is one thing, but seeing another Bulma is kinda weird. And naturally future Bulma has some questions herself as well, like who's the cat guy and the blue guy? So you may be wondering how she got here, and let's explain. In the future timeline, she'd of course realize that Trunks hasn't returned. This would mean one of two things, either he got killed, or the preferable option, he's just stuck there. She doesn't know if things are going well in the past, and she debates going back there or not. It's kind of a gamble, it could be worse than this timeline, or it could be better and it just turns out that Trunks is stuck there. She begins working on another time machine. It will take some time, no pun intended, mainly to get fuel for it. And at this rate, she probably would want to escape. Since Trunks isn't there, the androids would continue destroying stuff, and eventually Cell would show up. With the androids still alive and Cell appearing, that means Cell would be able to absorb them and attain perfection. But Cell feels kinda empty here. There's no real challenge for him now. Almost all of Earth has been eradicated. There's a few survivors spread about, but they're definitely not strong enough to face him. By this time, Bulma could have already escaped. And it's good that she did. Once Cell realizes he's bored, he decides just to blow up Earth. He has no real use for it, and the only fun thing he can think of is going around the universe just destroying random planets for fun. I mean, what else is he gonna do? So, the future timeline is pretty much lost, but thankfully, Bulma was able to escape so she doesn't die there. But naturally this does raise another issue. Beerus is pretty angered by this. Another time machine means more timeline meddling. Trunks tells Beerus that she didn't know anything about the time travel law, so this is his fault if anything. If he went back to the future, they would have stopped time travel completely. And if Trunks had went to the future, she wouldn't have come to the past. Trunks tells Beerus that this is his fault if anything. Bulma had no other choice but to escape and didn't know it was the wrong thing. Beerus doesn't take this opposition too well. He's tempted to destroy both of them, but he calms down and says he'll let it slide for this time. Trunks is kinda right, and to be fair, the future timeline is screwed according to Bulma. Clearly with future Bulma here, that's gonna throw a wrench in some things. The good side is, it means she escaped and lived. Also, Trunks is happy to see her, and vice versa. Having two Bulmas is definitely weird, but it's probably a good thing. Clearly both of them are very smart. But it might make things weird for Vegeta. Does he technically have two wives now, or is it just two of the same person split up? Or are they even considered the same person? And how would each of the Bulmas feel about that? Unquestionably it's going to be awkward and weird, but having future Bulma here will definitely be good. We'll see more of that as the series continues onwards. She mentioned that some other androids showed up and somehow got the other two. She doesn't know much because she didn't want to go outside, but with a few drones she was able to look around and see what was happening. So, they know that Cell pretty much won there, and Earth is probably destroyed by now for all they know. And the thing is, that's not the only Cell. There are 3 total. First, there's the one we'll refer to as Future Cell, the one that is currently in Trunks' timeline destroying everything. Next, there's the one that we'll simply call Cell. That's the one who traveled back in time to absorb the androids in this timeline. The one that already died here, and the one that fought Gohan in canon. And the only one in canon to actually become perfect. But there is a third Cell. One that we can call Present Cell, the Cell from this timeline. His pod was actually never destroyed, and Jiro's lab remained intact. I mentioned this in the last part. Present Cell is still being developed. In fact, his development's going even better than normal. The drones that Jiro has are getting so much info that Cell's developing even faster. Not to mention, he has more DNA this time. Trunks is part of him, and, probably the most scary of all, Beerus is part of him. Thankfully, the drones wouldn't pick up on Whis because he never really fought, so they don't know his true power, and decided he wasn't worth it. And frankly, if they did get his DNA, it would pretty much be over for everyone, so it's a way for me to nerf him. But they still do have Beerus' DNA after seeing all that power that Beerus showed off in his brief fights before. Not to mention, it has improved DNA from every other fighter. Trunks and Gohan are part of Cell, and all the data about God Ki and stuff are part of him too. And with all this great data and great improvements in his power, the development of him would be sped up, and he'd probably wake up earlier on, years before he was intended to. Cell is definitely aware of his power when he wakes up and realizes how strong he is. He has one goal now though, seeking out the androids. He looks around the lab once he wakes up, and they're not there, so he knows that they've been awoken before. But everything on Earth seems intact, so what happened with them? Either they somehow didn't go around destroying stuff, which seems unlikely, or they got destroyed. And as Cell searches further, he realizes that this is the case. There's no androids for him to absorb, meaning he won't be able to attain perfection. But you know what? He thinks that is kind of negligible. Even if he's only imperfect right now, he's just so strong already that he doesn't even need perfection. If anything, this makes it more fun and more challenging. If he were perfect, there'd be no fun in this. He's even not so sure now that he could have fun in this form because of how strong he is with all this data. But hey, he views it as a handicap, something to make fights more exciting. And as we know from Cell, excitement is what he wants. He just wants a good fight, and he's gonna go about it the fun way this time around. First, he actually needs to attract everyone towards him somehow. He floats up to the top of the mountain where Dro's lab is. Below him, he looks over multiple cities. He scans the vast landscape before him, and has the perfect idea of how to attract everyone to his location. Cell lifts a single hand up. He places a single finger on his thumb. He snaps it forward, flicking it. This single flick generates a massive shockwave, entirely flattening every city in front of him, as the shockwave continues around Earth multiple times. Excessive winds blow throughout the entire planet, and in the aftermath, everything within a few miles in front of Cell is completely destroyed, just from a single unrestrained flick. This is more than enough to get everyone's attention. Of course, they know where this happened, and they feel the effects resulting from this. The group all rushes over to see what's going on. For miles, all they see is a flat wasteland. But that divot converges at a point, and they see it's a mountain. They head towards the mountain, and on top of it, surely, Cell is standing there. It appears his signal worked, and now he could finally fight everyone. Great, another android, specifically another Cell? But this one, he's different. This isn't the one from the future, and it isn't the one that was killed before. They realize the true danger that they're facing. He has the DNA of everyone here, and all the new info that they could provide. Most shockingly of all, he has Beerus' DNA. But he won't kill everyone just yet. He does want to have some fun. With Goku being one of his main targets, he faces Goku first, holding back heavily. And even with Blue, Goku is still having a tough time. Cell is both imperfect and suppressed, and he's keeping up easily with Goku. Vegeta jumps in to help, and Cell is still having an easy time. Trunks and Gohan jump in. And now Cell is actually feeling challenged. But all he has to do is ramp up his power a little bit, and he'll be easily able to fend everyone off. He's facing 4 Super Saiyan Blues at once, and is doing it relatively easily, not even being hurt at all. He enjoys this, he's actually having fun, and he wonders how long this can go on for. Okay, clearly their power isn't going to be enough here, so they try strategy. Goku begins teleporting around Cell at rapid speeds. And each time he teleports, he launches a small Kienzan. This actually trips Cell up a bit. He keeps getting hit by the small discs, but they're nothing. He keeps regenerating from them, and once he ramps up his power a bit more, he begins dodging them. And surprisingly, he begins teleporting too, even outpacing Goku. Goku teleports behind Cell, but then Cell teleports behind him, kicking Goku into a nearby cliff. Before Goku even hits the cliff, Cell teleports behind him again, kicking Goku back towards the other fighters. Injured, Goku stands up. The Saiyans and every other fighter alongside them all prepare to face Cell once more. They're already approaching their max. Goku even breaks out one of his secret techniques, Blue Kaioken. With how early he got a head start with Super Saiyan Blue, he'd likely have it by this point and at a pretty high level. But even at times 20, alongside the help from all the other fighters, it still isn't enough. They're all being pushed to their max. From another part of the planet, Beerus and Whis are watching. Normally, Beerus would be one to not get involved in fights. But this one actually kinda angers him and concerns him. Apparently, this Cell has the DNA of him. So not only is Cell strong in terms of his power, but what if he has access to godly techniques too? What if he can use the Hakai? This is definitely not something they want to play around with, specifically something that Beerus doesn't want to mess with. So he and Whis fly over. Every person that can fight is there trying to face Cell. And now with everyone at their max power, Cell is stressing himself a bit, but he still overpowers everyone and does it pretty casually. Any techniques they can use, he can use. Any power that they can use, he has. God Ki, that's part of him. Regeneration, he still has that. He's unlike anyone they've ever faced before, and this is the first time in a while that they've actually seen a challenge. Not only is he a strong opponent, but he's a strong opponent with godly ki, just like all of them. During the fight, Cell forgot one of the most basic techniques that they have access to, as he's then blinded by Goku and Krillin. Of course, he has access to the Solar Flare too, and he can't believe he forgot about it. Now he's blinded and his senses are overwhelmed. He can't tell where anyone is, and he's waiting for the blindness to disappear. All the fighters gather together, charging attacks, and together they all launch them at their maximum power. Cell is hit by a combined group attack, one with extreme power, but even so, it's not enough. Cell has some burn marks, and he's even missing an arm. That's the first time they actually got to injure him. But who cares, he regenerates and is back to his full health. On the bright side though, he doesn't have infinite energy, so they made some progress in wearing him out, but not much at all. It's pretty much negligible. After this blast occurs, then 2 other people show up, Beerus and Whis. They expect Whis to maybe fight, but he can't. That's not something an angel can do. But luckily, Beerus can help. He joins the battle as everyone fights Cell together. With Beerus, this is actually a tipping point. Everyone's amazed to actually see Beerus' strength. This is the first time he's ever been fighting seriously. Luckily, even though the drones did get his DNA and some data, they didn't get all the data. They've never seen Beerus at full power. Beerus admits, frankly, he was worried that everyone else was going to get above him somehow in terms of power. So occasionally he would be training himself. Beerus knows that he is above everyone in terms of strength, but this was a precaution. With so many Super Saiyan gods, and Super Saiyan Blues for that matter, he didn't want a spot at the top to be taken. But even so, it's not like he's going to be incredibly stronger than he was before. The most shocking part is the fact that he's showing off his full power now. With Beerus now involved, the group is able to somewhat overpower Cell, and this really shows how strong he is here. But they don't want to drag this fight out. They don't know if there's a way to defeat him, and if there is, they want it to happen quickly. And Beerus of course recognizes the threat. If Cell keeps fighting, he's just going to grow stronger and stronger. He's got the potential of Saiyans, Hybrid Saiyans, and even Frieza's race in there, not to mention Namekians and Beerus. If they're not careful, he'll win here, and he'll be able to destroy everything in the universe, possibly the multiverse. And thankfully, Beerus has the technique just for this. He begins sparring with Cell alone, and the two are actually matching each other. With a strong punch, Cell is sent flying down towards the ground. He sticks the landing, kneeling with one hand on the ground. He looks up and he sees Beerus descending towards him rapidly. Quickly, Beerus sticks one of his hands out, preparing a Hakai. Cell recognizes this, and to his surprise, Cell does the same, just in the nick of time. For a brief moment, Beerus actually feels this fear, but still, he continues with his plan. Cell jumps up towards Beerus, with his hand outstretched in the same way. At the same time, the two shout Hakai, at their maximum power, launching this godly technique. Immediately, the entire planet is illuminated in a purple glow, a Hakai countering a Hakai. The whole planet begins shaking. No, it's not the whole planet. It's felt on King Kai's planet, the sacred world of Kais. New Namek. The entire galaxy feels it. Even Whis feels surprised. This will not end good. The entire universe is shaking. Two excessively strong characters use the same excessive technique at the same time. A cosmic shockwave is sent throughout space. The scale of this is incomprehensible. It almost feels as if everything is going to be destroyed, feeling as time itself even stopped briefly. But thankfully, it doesn't. The purple glow disappears. The shockwave is gone. Everything is calm, almost a little too calm. Everyone stands up, being knocked over from this attack. In a massive crater nearby, one that is miles deep, they see Beerus and Cell, both with their hands still stretched out. Suddenly, Cell begins disintegrating, panicking as he rapidly tries to regenerate himself. But even when he regenerates, that just gets erased too. Cell slowly begins to be destroyed. But at the same time, purple energy radiates off of Beerus. Although, he doesn't panic. He slowly begins to fade away, just as Cell does. He accepts this demise, not resisting it. In a way, he feels he deserves this, feeling some sort of regret. He was never one to take his position too seriously, and all the events here are indirectly caused by him. Cell shrieks as he fades away, but Beerus doesn't. He only has enough time to say one thing. He looks over to the group, specifically towards Trunks. He says one word that he's never said before: sorry. As Cell turns to dust, so does Beerus. Whis calmly watches on as he then becomes stationary. A deafening silence fills the area. And the thing is here, he's erased. Normal Dragon Balls are going to be able to bring him back. It's not like he just died. Everyone is basically in a state of trying to process what just happened, and then Kibito teleports in. Not only would he likely be monitoring what's happening on Earth, but he'd be affected too. On his planet, he'd see Shin get erased. Since he's linked with Beerus, and because Beerus dies, Shin does too. And that puts Kibito in a really odd position. He's basically the highest god in the universe right now. There's no god of destruction, and the Supreme Kai just died too. And since Kibito's the attendant, well, he's probably next in line to be Supreme Kai. Without any gods here, it's basically his job to fix up this mess now. And it's a pretty big task. He's gonna act as Supreme Kai now, but they're gonna need a god of destruction as well. It's something that's pretty urgent and they should probably fix it. and he wonders if they could revive Beerus or Shin. He assumes that Beerus just died, but then they explain he died due to a Hakai, so he reveals to everyone that Beerus is gone permanently. Neither Earth's Dragon Balls nor Namek's will be able to revive him. He wasn't killed, he was completely destroyed. So, in that case, they definitely will need a new God of destruction. Kibito doesn't know where he'll find one on such short notice, especially one strong enough to take the role. But then he realizes there's a bunch of strong godly fighters in front of him. He asks if anyone wants to stand in, saying it might just be a temporary thing. They all trained with Beerus, so they could be good candidates. No one really knows what to say, and after some deliberation and silence, the person to step up is Trunks. He doesn't do this confidently, he's still pretty conflicted about what happened with Beerus. But he begins thinking, this whole time he was mad at the leadership of the gods. And even if this is just a temporary thing, Trunks can maybe help turn that around. In a way, this is what he's wanted all along. So nervously, he steps up, offering to be the candidate for now. Kibito asks if Trunks understands the gravity of this, and he does. He needs to be 100% serious and no turning back. The good thing is, if Trunks becomes a god of destruction, they may have a chance at reviving Whis. See, it was never really clear what happens with the angels when gods of destruction die. They were never stated to actually die alongside the god, but just become inactive. So maybe Whis is just on standby in Universe 7, or has returned home as an unaffiliated angel. But if they get another god of destruction, they'll get him back. And he would be able to help out a lot. Kibito is not too sure about the process himself. I mean, usually it's a god of destruction promoting another god of destruction, not an apprentice Kai trying to appoint one. So it's not something that's going to happen right away. Before Trunks is officially promoted to this position, Kibito's going to need to do some research on this. And although he fears it, he's going to have to contact Zeno too. This may take some time, so briefly he departs. In the meantime though, Earth is relatively peaceful now, and Trunks has some free time to catch up with the future Bulma. He's glad that she was able to escape. He's sad and feels guilty about what happened to his timeline, but after she hears everything that happened, she realizes it's not his fault. She never blamed him at all. She knew he probably just got stuck here, which is the case. The good thing is, at least now both of them are alive and well. Except for the fact that Trunks is now going to have to become a god of the universe. Something he would have never expected. If only he knew what he got himself into when he traveled back in time. For now, he decides to train. He aims to get stronger, so he can be a good god of destruction. He needs to somehow reach Beerus' level if possible. As Kibito tries to figure things out, more time passes. But just because these things happen on Earth, that doesn't mean it's going to affect what happened in Universe 6. Champa would still probably pay Universe 7 a visit in order to get the Super Dragon Balls for himself. He and Vados arrive in Universe 7, and it's oddly quiet. He expected at least some form of resistance, but he's able to get the Super Dragon Balls that he needed. But the weird thing is he can't sense Beerus at all, so he decides he's going to pay the planet a visit. Vados takes Champa to Beerus' planet, and it's just empty. No one's there. That's odd. She even tries to contact Whis, but that doesn't work. As we've seen with the angels, Vados probably wouldn't be too concerned about her brother. But as for Champa, he'd probably care about what happened with Beerus. He's actually a bit worried, if anything. Not only because something may have happened with his brother, but also the universe as a whole. If something did happen with Beerus, this could have disastrous consequences. He decides he's going to get to the bottom of this. This means that there's no Universe 6 tournament, since Beerus isn't there to help initiate it. And although Champa has the Super Dragon Balls, he's not just going to steal Earth either. He saves them just in case, as he searches around the universe finding clues. The best place to check is the Sacred World of Kais. So they head there and meet Kibito. They know something's off when he's the only Kai there, and ask if he knows anything. Kibito tells him all that he knows, trying to explain what happened. The thing is though, Kibito wasn't there to witness the whole thing. Sure, he and Shin were monitoring it, but they don't have the full details. If Champa wants more answers, his best bet is going to Earth and asking everyone there, as he goes back to his research trying to figure out how to promote Trunks to an actual god of destruction, if that's even possible for him. Of course Champa wouldn't mind having to go to Earth, he wanted to get it for himself anyways, so he may as well have some fun while visiting it. And of course the first thing he does there is try and get some food, throwing everyone into a state of panic as he goes around the city and they see a giant purple cat walking around doing whatever he wants. He doesn't pay for the food because he doesn't know what Earth money is. And with Champa being Champa, I'm sure he'd threaten a few people too. He doesn't care about money, he just wants food. This odd story makes breaking news. And I mean, the news would be pretty weird regardless. A fat purple cat going around with an angel doing whatever he wants, stealing food and possibly destroying some things. But the news is even more alarming for the Z fighters. A purple cat, looking for food, destroying things. There's no way, is Beerus back? They head over immediately. And as they arrive, they see what's going on. Although the two people there aren't Beerus and Whis. It looks like a fat version of Beerus and a female Whis. Weird. But since they're causing havoc, the group goes on guard as they head over. They encounter Champa, and at first, he's not too amused, more people trying to stop him. But then something catches him off guard. He senses God Ki in some of these fighters. These must be the people that Kibito was telling him about. They begin talking and they find out that he knows Beerus and vice versa. So what Kibito said was true. Beerus was erased from existence. This is definitely concerning news, and Champa thinks for a bit. He wonders if he could fix this with the Super Dragon Balls. Sure, he'd love to use it for his own selfish desires, but he'd probably want to also revive his brother. Not to mention, he doesn't want Zeno finding out about this. He tells everyone to follow him, as Vados takes them all into space, gathering the Super Dragon Balls together. Champa's not sure if this will work, but he decides to go for it anyways. The group doubts it'll work too, but when you think about it, this would definitely happen. The Super Dragon Balls restored all those erased universes in the Tournament of Power. Reviving Beerus here wouldn't be a problem, and it of course comes as a surprise to other people there. Beerus has revived, as is Shin, and now Whis can become active once more. Beerus is equally surprised, especially finding out Champa did it. Champa acts like he did it for his own safety from Zeno, but really it was a gesture to help his brother. He wonders what Champa was even doing there in the first place, suspicious of his motives. But Champa yells at Beerus, telling him he should be grateful. Vados and Whis watch, and they're glad to see that the two are acting like normal. Although there's another thing that interests Beerus. He learns what Trunks is doing this time. And while Beerus doesn't plan on retiring or dying anytime soon, a God of Destruction candidate may not be a bad idea. So, he decides Trunks deserves to get a chance. Beerus knows that he's been hard on Trunks all the time, but Trunks is strong and he shows some good promise. He seemed motivated to help Universe 7 while Beerus was dead. So he decides he's going to officially promote Trunks to a God of Destruction candidate, if he's truly serious about it. Champa and Vados depart, and as a gift, Beerus says he'll be sure to give Champa his own Earth eventually. But now, he's going to focus on Trunks. Here we get into a short time skip. There wouldn't be any Zamasu here. Without the Universe 6 tournament, he wouldn't really be set off by Goku fighting him. And sure, Trunks and Bulma did time travel, but I don't feel like that's going to be enough to take him off like he was there. And even if Zamasu even did anything, I mean, he'd be terrorizing a timeline where the only living thing there is Cell. So it's not like he'd really be accomplishing much. Of course, this means no Tournament of Power either. Without the Universe 6 tournament, Zeno would never even get the idea. And of course, there would be no Broly either. He remains on Vampa. We just skipped those 3 arcs, but the Moro arc is still going to happen. So the time skip ends there. It's been some time since the events of the last arc. Trunks has remained on Beerus' planet, training with him and Whis, occasionally visiting Earth as well. Goku and Vegeta do the same, but they're not as dedicated as Trunks. They go back to Earth occasionally, especially with Vegeta having another kid. The whole dynamic of the Vegeta family is weird now. He has 2 of the same wife, 2 of the same son, and now a newborn daughter. Awkward wouldn't even begin to describe this dynamic. But you know what? Future Bulma's fine with it because the girl that she's competing with is herself. It's not like Vegeta left her for someone else. It's just weird to see, and a bit sad that she never got this opportunity either. Goku's on Earth as well trying to make money, finding good success as a farmer. As for Tarbell, well, he just enjoys life peacefully. He never really had a reason to become a fighter, so he's not going to be really training consistently like Vegeta was. He's basically just glad to be here. The Moro arc starts pretty normally. Beerus ends up arriving on Earth looking for Boo, but there's no Boo here, so he decides to get Goku and Vegeta instead to come with him. It would be nice if they could take Trunks along too, but they might not need him. And they don't really have a way of contacting him instantly. Well, as far as Goku and Vegeta know. They don't realize they're with an angel right now. Anywho, much of the stuff on Namek goes normally. Without the Tournament of Power and the Zamasu arc, Goku and Vegeta would probably be weaker than normal. Plus, there's no Boo there to fight Moro. But this change isn't too massive. I feel like if anything, it only means Moro gets his wish faster. But besides that, a lot of it goes normally. And once Moro gets his wish, Trunks is able to sense this from Beerus' planet. Beerus and Whis are watching too. Not only could they sense Goku and Vegeta fighting before, but there's also this huge surge of power once Moro gets his wish. Before, they thought maybe Goku and Vegeta can handle it themselves, but maybe not. Trunks tells Beerus he should just go there and finish it quickly, Hakkaiing Moro and getting it over with. But Beerus says Goku and Vegeta can handle it themselves. And he doesn't really want Trunks going there because he's concerned that Moro may just steal his energy, and they'll have another Cell situation on their hands. I mean, look how that went last time. They don't want another repeat of that. Being erased once was painful enough, and Beerus doesn't want to have that happen again. He also doesn't want that to happen to Trunks, so he tells him to stay here for now. As Trunks tries to think of a plan on his own, Goku and Vegeta go off to do their own training. Goku of course doesn't know Ultra Instinct here. He never got it because there's no Tournament of Power. But Beerus probably would introduce him to it at some point. Goku would notice the strength of this galactic patrolman, and they start training, which would lead him to explain Ultra Instinct to Goku. He tells Goku it's useful, but it's going to be very hard to get. And as for Vegeta, he'd most likely still head to Yardrat. There's no reason to change that. But when Moro's crew first attacks Earth, this is where we'll see some changes. Of course, Piccolo and Krillin would be there trying to defend, and Gohan would eventually arrive on the scene to face 7-3. While Goku and Vegeta are weaker in this scenario, as we've seen in the last parts, Gohan's trained a bit more. And I wouldn't say he's hugely stronger than his canon self, but I could definitely say he's more refined here as a fighter. And this time around, he's not going to risk having the fight go on too long. And we even saw this in the original manga. He almost did finish off 7-3. But here he's going to go for that right away instead of trying to fight some more. In order to defend Earth, Gohan defeats 7-3 right away. surprising the rest of the crew as everyone retreats, at least those who haven't been defeated or captured. Moro is concerned about 7-3 dying, but he decides that if they let Earthlings train a bit, he'll have a better snack once he goes to eat it. In the meantime, he'll just go around eating other planets. We go back to Trunks. He wants to train for more power to see if he can defeat Moro as quickly as possible, without risking his power being stolen. He wants to be so far ahead of Moro that Moro won't even have time to take his energy. Whis does know one technique, Ultra Instinct. It seems that Goku's training with Beerus to try and get it, but it may take some time for Trunks to get it if he wants it himself. Oh yeah, Whis realizes he forgot to mention, Beerus is his brother, which comes as a shock to Trunks. He knows Goku's training with that angel, but that's probably going to take too long. He wants to end things right now. Planets are dying by the dozens and he wants to end that. While Beerus warned Trunks about fighting Moro, Trunks wants to end this really quickly, and asks again for Beerus to let him go. Begrudgingly, Beerus agrees this time. He tells his student that he's allowed to fight, but if things get bad, he needs to leave as soon as possible. Whis will take him there and will be there to watch. Trunks asks Whis if he can help, but Whis reminds Trunks that angels can't get involved in fighting, although he will give Trunks one thing. When they arrive at Moro's ship, Whis creates a giant barrier, just so Trunks is able to breathe in space. With this giant barrier created, Moro's ship crashes into it, leaving everyone on board confused. A giant blast then tears the ship into two, killing most of the people on board besides Moro. Out of the ship's remains, Moro steps out, seeing Trunks. He hasn't seen this fighter before, although he does sense a strange power emanating off him. But it seems like he is powerful, maybe he'll make a good snack. Although, bad news for Moro, Trunks isn't playing around here. Right away, he charges a large ball of energy in his hand, throwing it right at Moro. Moro laughs at this, opening his mouth ready to eat this blast. But Trunks knew this. This ball of energy looked massive, but it didn't have too much packed into it. Trunks merely threw this as a distraction. As Moro eats the giant ball, he realized that there wasn't much energy in it, and as he consumes it, he noticed that Trunks disappeared, as he then feels a hand on his back. Before he can even turn around to see Trunks there, energy rockets through his chest, as Trunks shouts Hakai. From the hole in his chest, Moro begins disintegrating, surrounded by a purple glow as he slowly disappears. As Moro is erased, Whis enters the barrier once more, congratulating Trunks on his victory. It seems his judgment was right once more. Beerus should have just let him go sooner, and now for Beerus he could finally relax. The universe is safe now, and Trunks is victorious. And Trunks is his personal choice for a god of destruction after all, so he can't help but feel proud too. As for Goku and Vegeta, they most likely would be unaware of this for some time, continuing their training until they eventually find out that Moro was already defeated by Trunks. Even after hearing this, they continue their training regardless. Vegeta's interested in the spirit control thing, while Goku's interested in Ultra Instinct. You know, training some more wouldn't really hurt, and now they have a new goal. Trunks is clearly far ahead of them. But maybe if they continue their individual trainings, they can catch up. The best part is there's no pressure now. Moro was gone and they have no constraints. So this generates a friendly competition between Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks, with the three Saiyans wanting to see who can become the strongest. This pleases Beerus too. It only means that Trunks will get stronger as well. He's already done some good things for this universe. Not to mention he's pretty strong. Beerus made the right choice in giving him this position. And you know, even though he is a bit remorseful for how he treated Trunks at first, he knows that it was all for the better. And I mean, Trunks did break the law. Beerus had to show some sort of authority to him, but that's besides the point. He couldn't care less about that now. What matters most is that Beerus now has a strong candidate for the next god of destruction. And Universe 7 is pretty good right now. Hopefully, once Trunks does become the god of destruction, he can keep it that way. He shows a lot of promise. As Beerus watches Whis train Trunks, this is where we'll end off the scenario now. So, what did you guys think about this scenario? If anything happens next, what do you think may happen? And what did you think about this part specifically? Do you think Trunks will make a good GOD? Leave all your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you like the video, be sure to drop a like. And let's try to hit that like goal from the beginning of the video. If you haven't already, why not subscribe? As well as hitting the bell icon to get notified about any future uploads on my channel, including more videos like this one. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting the scenario, and I'll see you all in my next video.